Oh my God, you guys, I'm so excited. Tonight is my inaugural Better lecture. You guys, I'm so excited that I have butterflies in my stomach, and like my knees are shaking. So tonight is the first inaugural lecture on discrimination, depression, discrimination, and Black women, or Black women. So y'all hear me stutter over some stuff or flubber over some words. Forgive me. I'm not quite used to this, but I'm live on 2 platforms right now. So I will be looking at my desktop or my iMac. So that's going to be live on YouTube. So I hope everyone's been well. Today is Wednesday. It is 7 p.m. I plan on coming through every Wednesday at 7 p.m. with a new lecture. Well, actually, maybe the same lecture. I don't know. But tonight, we're talking about discrimination, depression, discrimination, and Black women. Okay, so we got some people there. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get started for tonight's Better lecture. Like I said, I hope everyone is doing well. And so I am Glennae Davis. I'm a California registered nurse. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. Despite completing only grade school, I earned a bachelor's in the science of nursing. I have a 30-year healthcare experience. I have enjoyed an amazing 16-year nursing career working in highly specialized areas of medicine like medical ICU, cardiothoracic ICU, solid organ transplantation, pain management, post-anesthesia care unit, and cardiac catheterization. I have seen miracles, signs, and wonders. I went from gangbanging with the Black P-Stones of Los Angeles, California, to a seat at the table. Colleagues with world-renowned cardiothoracic surgeons, immunologists, pulmonologists, cardiologists, and professors of medicine. And now, the founder of 2 companies. My first company is Nays Vision, a publishing firm, where I am editor-in-chief and have self-published 2 books. Yet here I stand, my journey from bondage to liberty, a memoir, then Bias and Burnout, 10 power moves for healthcare workplace equity, a healthcare business book. I am the CEO at RX for Life, a health equity consultancy and education agency, where I help Black women become confident, empowered employees, free from racism and stress-related disease, to live an abundant life. But getting to this place wasn't easy. I have faced a lot of challenges in my lifetime, but none as hard as coping with workplace discrimination within a major U.S. hospital. Do you know I've never saw myself as a statistic until I needed help accessing employment rights? Yes. At face value, it seems so black and white that I should have that thing to ease my discomfort, make me equal, give me equity. But because of bias, the administration can't care about my health, my life, or the destination of my soul. I care. You care. They see what is happening and say, I'm sorry, but my hands are tied. Or there's nothing more I can do for you. The attorneys say I'm being unreasonable. The pastors say that I have come so far in life that I shouldn't risk losing my job. The doctors say that I shouldn't be upset about their business decisions. The friends say I should just let it go. But what does God say? Who will help me dismantle institutional racism? Telling my employer about my injury exposed my weakness, but I fought for my rights with every ounce of strength that I have. I will not enter that modern day gas chamber. Only God knows what public health statistic I would have fallen victim to had I followed their ways. I am blessed that I follow Jesus Christ. I am blessed that I trust in the living God. And I am blessed that I wait for him. My story is dark. My story goes deeper than I can carefully unpack for you all today. That's why I write. But what I will share is depression may be the result of workplace discrimination, a form of chronic job stress. It was for me, and I am not alone. For African American women, mental and physical symptoms of stress are erroneously examined, diagnosed, and medicated, leading to many diseases, including death and poverty. When we use our employer-sponsored benefits to see our doctor, we are asking for help to restore our health. When we patronize our employer's legal partners, we are asking for guidance to protect us from becoming just another statistic. We now understand that help is unavailable, which is why I have created a healthcare brand providing you, the people, with community, consultancy, courses, and literature so that you can have your prescription for life. Today, you get better health results than using your employee benefits to manage stress. Are you ready for better? Type in the chat, I'm ready for better. Are you ready for better? Type in the chat that I am ready for better. Okay, talking about institutional racism without a framework is too abstract. So I will be using the workplace because it's relatable and measurable, the nursing process because it's practical and evidence-based, and then the Word of God because he is the final authority, loves you, and is the truth, whether you believe in him or not. And I just want to say a disclaimer on believing in God or not, that I am talking to my potential students in this lecture tonight who are Christians, but also I do talk to your attorneys and also speak to your doctors who may not be Christians, but you're treating Christian women. So therefore you have to have this information so that you do not mislead her away from her promise. All right, thank you for joining. I just want to, whoever is on the Instagram platform, that I'm going to be basically looking at the other screen, which I'm live on YouTube. It was just kind of an impromptu thing for me to come live on Instagram tonight, but I am so thankful that you joined. We're talking about depression, workplace discrimination in Black women, and how to care for you guys, and getting you some lecture. Tonight is our inaugural Better lecture. So I thank you for coming. If you have questions, please type them in the chats, and I will do my very best to get to them, but I will let you know how to contact me at the end of this lecture. If you don't mind, YouTube, subscribe and share and like this content. Also, Instagram, please like and share this information as well. So we're here for the Better lecture. I just gave my introduction, and I asked for you guys to type in the chat that you are ready for better. Okay, so we'll be using the workplace because it's relatable and measurable. We're talking about the framework because when you speak about institutional racism, it is very abstract. It's kind of like all over the place, and everyone has their own opinion and their experiences with it, which is why I created this framework of using the workplace because it's relatable and measurable, and then the nursing process because it's practical and evidence-based, and then the Word of God because he is the final authority, loves you, and is the truth. I'm not a pastor, I'm not an attorney, but I am a California registered nurse who have a legal mandate to protect health and to prevent injury and disease. And a lot of Black women and Black families are being hurt by institutional racism. And as I went through 4 years of systemic employment discrimination within a major U.S. hospital, I understand where those pitfalls are. And so I'm just here to be the praxis between that gap of knowledge so that we can prevent the falling of people who look like me, right? We want better. I want better. If you want better, type better in the chat. So this lecture is about 45 minutes. I will hang around for about 15 minutes for questions. Additional questions after that, you can email info@yourrxforlife.com. That's info@yourrxforlife.com. So everyone grab a pen and a piece of paper, because by the end of this lecture, you will have learned specific solutions for depression and workplace discrimination, what the measurable data is for employees to preventing health disparities, achievable goals for empowering employees, what relevant products and services are now available for health equity, and then the timeliness of partnerships for health equity. This is good stuff. I have been building this RX for Life, you guys, no joke, for 9 years, blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice. And I am determined to get this out into the communities so that you all have better working relationships, better familial relationships, and most important, a good relationship with Jesus Christ, because, child, there's a whole lot of stuff going on, and I can't even get off track because we got to stay focused. Okay, so let's talk about the specific solutions. So I want you to think about what the number one reason for depression is for working Americans. Can you guess what the number one reason for depression for working Americans is? I give you guys a few seconds to put it in chat. Let me look over here. So, okay. Come on. Okay. All right. So it's chronic job stress. As a matter of fact, the CDC says that depression is a major cause of disability for working people, right? How can you get up and go to work when everything just seems so heavy, so dark, and so gloomy? And people be coming for you on the job, right? And you don't really know how to respond to it. And, you don't want to say nothing or push envelopes because, you need your paycheck, or maybe you are head of household, you got children to take care of, and you're just trying to get through retirement, or whatever the case may be. I know for me, I was a six-figure earner. I had moved my children from the inner city to suburban America, out here in California, driving luxury vehicles. I was making six figures, and I had to risk all of that so that I wouldn't lose this life that is promised to me, because I was afraid. I didn't know how to let go. Guess we can talk about that, how to let go, and what to hold on to and what to let go, because that's always this fine nuance that no one ever really teaches us about. But that's why I'm here. I'm here to help. So the CDC says that depression is a major cause of disability for working people. So what exactly is depression anyway? Chemicals off balance in the brain. Number two, a force of some kind holding you down. Number three, fearing the wrong things and expecting someone else to do for you what you can only do for yourself. I'll answer that question for you towards the end of this lecture. Right now, I'm going to get into some facts. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission says, and this is the federal government where you go to complain of discrimination in the workplace. It's a filing agency, and they get approximately 100,000 complaints of discrimination every year across the nation, and the majority are African American women. The 100,000 is not a lot. And when I began to build my business, and I was talking to a lot of mentors, they actually discouraged me from, pursuing the work that I'm doing, because 100,000 people, Y'all don't mean nothing. That's not enough, But to me, that's enough. You guys are enough. One person is enough. If I can keep one person from going through that BS I went through at work, I'll do this over and over again until the day I die, because that was crazy and you need support and your situation mitigated. So, business wise, they say it didn't make sense. However, it took 4 years for my situation to resolve. Now that's 400,000 souls. Where do you guys think 400,000 souls, majority Black women, are? They didn't win no major landslide lawsuit. No. A lot of things happened to them, but they did not get that resolve that they were looking for, because the system is crooked, you guys. Period. Everybody wants theirs, right? Everybody wants theirs, and I want you to want yours too. I want you to learn how to be about your business as well, because you are worthy, you are important, and you are special. So the EEOC says that approximately 100,000 people every year, it takes years for the case to resolve, whether or not you end up going to mediation, you end up, becoming ghetto rich, whatever the case may be. It is a difficult process, and you'll need spiritual care to even begin to endure it. And then the LA Homeless Authority, I live in Los Angeles. If you missed the beginning of my presentation tonight, the LA Homeless Authority says that out of all the people, these Black people, it's a whole homeless community of Black people in Los Angeles. And the Homeless Authority says that the majority of them are homeless because of workplace discrimination and bias in healthcare. That's big news. And they came out with that landmark discovery in 2020. And then, the wealth gap is widening. Also, they say that Black people are going to have very little income in a few years to come. And so we have to figure out, what are we going to do to be in the workplace and pursue our goals, be a part of the mission, and grow our income, and make sure that we are investing in ourselves, in our education, so that we can change these generational curses that we have, that is just dependent on our own strength, or dependent on the workplace, so that we can grow and have this abundant life that we are promised. And so the last thing that I have here under the facts is that we are lacking the knowledge of how to use your rights and responsibilities when you are in need. It's scary to have conversations and be vulnerable in the workplace, and to ask for our needs to be met. I know for me, and the way that I grew up, I was silenced a lot, and it was like my voice didn't matter. And so we teach people how to treat us when we don't speak up, and when we don't set boundaries. And it happens in the workplace, it happens in relationships. And if we can just learn through demonstration and workshops of just saying something, how you mean it, just saying it. And I know it feels uncomfortable, but the message has been received, and either you know what you're dealing with, or you know what you're dealing with. And then you can make your next power move after that. Instead of what we do right now, which is reacting by pointing fingers or looking back at our nation's racist history, that will not serve you. When I was in 4 years of this fight for my life, fight employment discrimination, had I looked at our racist history, had I looked at the fact that these people were white and they were being racist against me, none of that would have served me. All I needed to focus on was what my rights were, how I'm interpreting my rights, what I am able to do, and to stay there and continue to push forward and ask for what it is that I want, regardless if I'm offending them. Like, you have to offend people sometime, because if you don't, then you would be pushed out and you would just be another statistic, and then, you won't have any recourse. And there's a lot that we have to learn about how to be great employees, and this is even advancing the company's mission. Our companies hire us to do a job, and part of that job is knowing our anti-bias and anti-discrimination laws and doing it. Becoming accountable, becoming a risk taker, and being focused on your desired outcomes will protect you from becoming a health disparity of America's public health crises. If I don't know, let me see. So if I told you guys, like, the title of my book is 10 Power Moves, and I just said that becoming accountable is risk, and then you need to be focused on desired outcomes, which is 2 of the power moves, which is risk and focused. You can write that down. To become accountable to your desired outcome, you must be a risk taker. You should know what to risk, and to be focused on what your outcomes are. Okay, so here are some specific solutions for coping with chronic job stress based on race and discrimination. First, I want for you all to understand that cope means to meet force with the same force until you overcome. When I was doing a lot of my building of my companies, when I would use the word cope, I think people thought of cope as kind of a tolerate, but it's not the same. Cope is an active word also, but it means that if they do something, you do something. You counter, they counter. And you have the right to do these things because it's written in your employment handbooks, and you have your health to protect. You do. You have your health to protect, and you are the one who will overcome. That's the activity that's involved. It's something that you ask for something, they do something, and you move and you do something. It's time consuming, but I want you guys to remember that if you're going through any kind of job stress that's chronic in nature, nothing else matters. Like, you can't go out, you can't have fun, you're not present at work, you're not present at home with the kids, you got this just ruminating in your brain. You can't move forward until you handle this. And so this is the easiest way to handle chronic job stress, is to do the next step, is to handle the business involved. So, to play your role. They play in their role. You have to learn how to play your role. You have to look at your situation, decide whether or not it matters to you, because it may not even matter to you. And if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But if it matters, it matters. And and nothing else matters. So look at whether or not, if your employment rights are involved. Do you feel like these things are happening to you because you're Black, or because your hair? Or do you believe that, you're a protected class person, Nisha, I don't even want you on here, girl. My friends be making me nervous. How you doing? I'm in the middle of a lecture. Anyway, thank you for showing up. I certainly appreciate it. You can share if you like. Thank you. So I want you to look at your situation. Like I said, if it matters to you, then it matters. If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. I just want to take a moment. Nisha, I used to work with her as a registered nurse over in Children's Hospital. And this young lady is unfazed by anything. She is such a powerful woman. She doesn't let anything ruin her day. And she is a beautiful spirit and is always jovial and happy and doing her thing. So thank you so much for showing up. So if you're a protected class person, like if you're a female or if you're transgender, or, if something is happening to you, I want you to know that your opportunity comes through opposition. If you can just move on from the situation and not lose, then you should do that and not take it personally. But if you are anything like I was in my situation, where you couldn't move on because there is something that is keeping you really focused and engaged on what you're doing, then you have to finish that assignment. You have to handle that business. And what are your tools to handle that business? It's knowing what your policy is and knowing what the procedure is. And what I want to say about that is that a lot of times if you approach management, they'll play the corporate time delay game, and they're wasting your time. Do not let anybody waste your time. You have to approach them, and then if that doesn't work, then you go up the chain of command. Those are your rights and responsibilities as an employee. And these are what legally they call good faith. So these are your good faith moves to make sure that you are not being vulnerable at the end of the day. Because if you feel like your company is trying to fire you, they probably are trying to fire you. And if you're not capable of moving out and doing another job that is equal or better to what you're doing, then you need to, I don't want to use the word fight, because it really isn't. You need to make sure that you're not leaving your rights on the table, because when you leave your rights on the table in a job, you really are nothing more than a corporate slave, and that will repeat with you at your new job. So handle the situation and move forward. Like I said, your tools are knowing what the policy is and what the procedure is and doing it in good faith. Get that knowledge that you need and apply the knowledge, and that will reduce the cortisol hormones to normal levels, preventing your disease. Remember, I said that depression comes after chronic stress. Chronic stress is the cause of all disease, mental or physical. It's inflammation and chronic stress. And when we are in this opposition state, if we don't fight or flight, which is what I'm teaching you right now, then you will never reduce your cortisol level. You're going to destroy your adrenal glands, which is on top of your kidney. Your vitamin D levels, if you're Black, are already low, and so that hormone is not going to really help you. And it's just kind of like leading you to a state of dis-ease. And then who capitalizes off of your disease? And then you'll go to the doctor, and the doctor will treat your disease, but they still will never treat you and your issue that was taking place, that was causing all of this chronic stress to begin with, right? So you want to be able to make sure that you are reducing your spikes of cortisol to normal levels so that you are not risking disease. So preventing victimization really is that easy. What's hard is the mental and physical process of separating yourself from what it is that you think you know, your values and your belief systems. And that's why I'm here. So number one, you don't doubt. And number two, you don't get caught up in medical oppression, you guys. I have a 30-year healthcare experience, 16 as a registered nurse. So please don't look so surprised when I say medical oppression. Healthcare is my beloved industry, which is why I'm doing this work. Because like I said, what happened to me and what's happening to millions of other people should not be happening. I hope to become a master marketer for the righteousness of God as Big Pharma is for the master of lies. I really want to help you guys get this mind right in the workplace so that you're empowered, confident women living your best life. You deserve to live your best life. Taking medicine in the absence of disease causes disease. Taking antipsychiatric medications for this type of depression is just wrong. Okay? You should not be taking a pill so that you can go to work and tolerate any injustices or anything. And then, what if it really is God calling you to do something? I own 2 companies now, and God called me to do something in the workplace that was very hard, and I finished it. And now I'm able to teach other people to do not what I did, but so that they can do what they need to do without going through the health disparities and the health risk that I went through. You guys, I can't share any of my screens or any of the pictures or anything that I looked like when I was going through discrimination, but I'm not the same person. I'm not the same woman. I feel like I died back in 2015. My skin, my hair, everything was just toe up from the flow up. And, I'm showing my age. Sorry, I'm kind of old, but yeah. Okay, so what if it really is God calling you? He says many are called, but few are chosen. And I want to help you to answer him and to do whatever it is he is asking you to do in the workplace. Because just think about how important your job is when you're working for major industries like police officers or nursing, and the communities that you serve, and your next generation. My next generation of nurses right now are, all they need is a high school diploma, and they're about to start putting nurses in the hospitals without any education because they're in desperate need of it. Where's that going to take healthcare? So this is why it's important for you to do what it is that scares you in the workplace, to speak up, because you really, if you have this awareness of something happening in the workplace, you are responsible for it. And I want you to do it with grace and with dignity and tenacity so that you teach your children how to do this. And yeah, okay. Okay, so I say here, really important before I move on to measurable data, is that I'm here to bring Christians into believers and separate the people of God from getting caught up in the psychiatry's influence of your mind. I absolutely don't believe psychiatry belongs in healthcare at all, but that's my opinion and that's my experience, and as a California registered nurse, I can, say that nothing good came from it, and nothing good can come from it. You are a human being having human experiences, and you need to be supported to do the right thing, which is scary to do. And I want to help you be able to do that, because the measurable data is that 75 to 95% of all doctors' office visits are for job-related stress. That's you can Google that, you can DuckDuckGo that, you can read through medical journals. That is pre-COVID. Now, I don't even know what the statistics are right now and post-COVID, but people have been complaining about job stress for a very long time. And then it goes on to say that 75% of all diseases are from unhealthy emotions. So look, you guys are going to the doctor and you're still coming out with disease. So what that tells me is that many people are being diagnosed and medicated for sure, but even if the medication reduces your physiological responses to respond to these things, that is still happening. And that what is happening up here is the reason why we end up with disease. And what I also recognized was just mind-blowing to me is that we are using our employee benefits asking for this help, but we're using it asking for the help with people who are contracted with our employer. So their allegiance is to the same person who's paying you, right? Their services to really help you is limited. And that's, again, where I fill in the gap. I just want to share a quick story with you. Back in 2014, I was working as a solid organ transplant coordinator at Ronald Reagan, UCLA. I had finally got that job after 2 exhausting years of fighting for my employment rights. I wanted to be accommodated with a person with a disability. I was injured doing bedside care, and I wanted to work with my physical limitations. The doctor said that I had a 10-pound weight restriction and that I couldn't type more than 10 minutes per hour. But I'm a nurse, and my job shouldn't have been defined by my inability to move a patient, right? And I still wanted to be gainfully employed. I saw my doctor, my internist, who was also my colleague, and I asked her for an accommodation, and she said that not even a doctor can get an accommodation. So when you go to the doctor, you don't expect to be told no. You're really kind of letting them know, hey, I need this, and no one's really there to help you. Okay. we expect help, we expect information, and we expect confirmation of what it is that we're supposed to be doing, because you are supposed to be doing something. You cannot just sit down and take this as mundane routine, because they will disadvantage you if you don't learn to say something or even have an ally to help you articulate what it is that you want to have done. However, that help never came from me. And I was so bad off, you guys, with dealing with institutional racism that I ended up in that chair, that psychiatric chair. I spent 2 years in a psychiatric office. You know, I would go see her every week because I didn't know where else to turn. Like, it seemed so simple for me to be able to get my rights, but they kept denying me. It was like I would reach for it and it would just be so evasive. And your doctors were trying to write me out of my career, 10-pound weight, putting permanent restrictions on me. And then after like this, almost the second year, just about the second year, do you know I recognized that psych means soul? So if you're having mental health issues about your job and you don't really know what else to do next, could it really mean that we need to consider our soul? Because good employees like yourself, you're using your employer-sponsored benefits to go to counseling, to go to the doctor. You're going to your administration like HR, and also filing complaints of discrimination. They just wanted the job stress to stop. They just wanted to go back to work. But they was called to do something, and it's kind of hard to go back. And then if you don't handle that situation, we're just spinning our wheels, and that will lead to burnout. You guys, burnout is not you going to work saying, oh, I'm feeling burnt out. That's a call for you to understand what stage of stress you're in so that you can make some very important decisions, because burnout is thoughts of suicide, medication, addiction, poverty, violence, workplace violence, domestic violence. That's burnout. And you don't want to burn out. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to even get at the end stage of stress. You want to be able to handle your business swiftly so that the cortisol levels return to where they're supposed to be and you move on to your next level living, right? So you're in a better position than those burnouts. You, instead of getting judged, diagnosed, and medicated, you can get representation, information, advocacy, and support. Never mind waiting on some new law. Never mind talking about critical race theory. None of that has ever stopped one Black folk from losing their way in this world. You need information, you need application, and you have to do it boldly and professionally while you wait on God. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. No new bills, no new laws have ever changed a racist mind. You can't. They're unconscious. You guys are the ones with all the awareness and the enlightenment and understanding, but isn't it ironic that the ones that's unconscious are the ones that, unconscious with bias, are the ones who are in leadership positions? What you gonna do? We can't change people. We can only change ourselves. So who is here for better? I know I'm here for better. So we have about 15 more minutes to go. Thanks so much for riding with me. If you haven't liked this broadcast, please do so and share it if you do not mind. This is very important health information that I would love to share with anyone who is out there. Every year, there's 1,000 Black women filing complaints of discrimination, and her life is at risk. Her life, her health is at risk, and I want to help her make really good decisions and become an empowered employee. Okay, free from racism and stress-related disease to live an abundance life. Because according to the United States Health Department and Human Services, that despite the increasing levels of emotional distress reported by Black women, there are few clinical interventions designed to address this distress and increase the well-being of Black women in the workforce. Today, that changes. You guys have courses, consultancy, literature, now community, that changes. We have all of this happening for you guys today. So do me a favor, take out your pen and paper that I asked you guys to write with earlier, and I want to just do a quick engagement with you all. So take out your paper and write somewhere at the top, I am, and then just write your name. So like, I just wrote, I am Glenay, okay? I am Glenay. Then I want you to write, I am loved, I am chosen, I am fashioned in my mother's womb, I am thought about, God knows me by name, I am a God who fear the Lord, I am healed, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I am loved, I am chosen, I am fashioned in my mother's womb. I am thought about, God knows me by name. I am a God who fears the Lord. I am healed. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I am loved. I am chosen. I am fashioned in my mother's womb. I am thought about, God knows me by name. I am a God who fears the Lord. I am healed. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You have just begun to define and diagnose yourself. Stop letting people define and diagnose you. So your homework, you guys, this is a lecture, right? This is my first inaugural lecture, and I am so excited. This is the better lecture. Better, you want better health, you want better health outcomes, you want better results, you want better love, you want better all of that. This is better, right? Better. So your homework is to now think about your employment rights. If something has been happening with you at work, go look them up. Ask for your employee handbook. Look at your employment rights, because what your employment rights are, and I'm talking about the employment rights of your anti-bias and anti-discrimination and your anti-labor. These are taken from state and federal laws, right? And oftentimes they're broader than even the federal laws, so which means that you have more protection. And then think about your benefits also, and how corporate oppression is keeping you from your growth using the medical industry. So think on these things. Think of them, okay? And then think on why psychiatry leaves the healer, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, out of your medical treatment plans. He was the one thing that I knew that I needed, and I was just so I don't want to say embarrassed, but in doubt of how to use it. Like, I knew I was in some spiritual trouble going on here. Like, I knew something was about to go down, and it was so big that I couldn't even understand it. But had I followed their ways, I would have fallen victim to any number of public health crises. And we are going to stop health disparities for African Americans today. Okay, so those are the two things that I want you to think about. And then I want to get back to what is depression. I said that I was going to answer that question. I don't know. Only you can decide what depression is, right? Only you can decide who your oppressor is. It could be yourself. It could be a toxic relationship. It could be your job, but you have to figure it out. You have to figure out how to get out of it, how to eliminate old traumas, self-limiting beliefs, and this broken value system, and to stop listening to people who have not reached health equity, okay, who are trying to give you health equity. You have to become a student of health equity, because only you can it's a pursuing game. You have to pursue your health equity, right? Like, nobody can give you what you want. You're the one who knows what you want. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I don't even know what I want. But I'm trying. I'm trying to get there every day. So I'm not perfect at it, but I am growing at it, because I am accepting the things that are self-limiting within myself, right? If you're feeling like, you want more and deserve more, but are being held back, then there is an opposition there, or opposition or an oppression. And you, my love, have to figure out what to do next. And I know that we're sometimes fearful to make those moves because we don't want to lose. But you can lose no good thing. You really can't lose no good thing. No good thing. It feels like a loss initially, but then it's not. It's not. It doesn't matter if that oppression or that opposition is subjective or objective, if it's physical or mental, you have to stand up. And once you stand up, those shackles will fall off. My industry had been trying for years to destroy man's connection to God. The devil is in medicine. The devil is everywhere. He hates the God in you. And I've been in healthcare for 30 years. I don't trust psychiatry's presence in medicine. If you do, that's fine, but I really do have to speak for and have a voice for the people who are dealing with depression that is stemming from the workplace. And so you're not caught up in the traditional of the system, because if you doubt here, that's your mind gone and you become, a victim and falling out on the street and beggars for bread. And the word of God said that the righteousness, you are not begging for bread. So who the hell are those people on the street begging for bread? Talking about God, it doesn't happen. Something happened to them in the workplace. I want to tell you that the one common denominator in those people on the streets that I found when I was doing my research, remember I told you I've been building this company for 9 years, is the workplace. Something happened to them in the workplace. So if something happened to them in the workplace, I'm telling you the factor was healthcare. Either they were on workers' comp, they were taking opioids, became addicted to the opioids, then they never healed, and they lost their job because they never filed a complaint of discrimination and never protected themselves on that end of the spectrum. And then they lose their job, and if they're addicted to the opioids, now they have to get on, what is it? I don't know, methamphetamine? No. I don't know, whatever they be injecting, in place of the heroin. I don't do drugs. I don't know. But I'm just saying, even me as a registered nurse, they were trying to push opioids on me and told me I must not be in a lot of pain if I don't want to take the opioids. And I'm like, I am in a lot of pain, number one. Number two, opioids are very addictive. And how do you bounce back from that? Like, I can't work with that. So that happens to unassuming people, right? They're on the streets for that. Or I know clients who call me right now are calling because they have allowed their job and trusted their job, and now their job has let them go, and they never filed a complaint of discrimination, and they absolutely have no recourse to bounce back on. Like, an attorney won't take their case, and they're just like shit out of luck, right? Some of my clients have increased their ability to be able to secure an attorney because their case was solidified. They dotted their I's, crossed their T's, and so they got more of a better reward. And some of them even were able to keep their job and get paid back the monies. Like, you have to be cunning as the world, but for righteousness. Nothing wrong with that. You got to just, be thinking about what you're doing and do it. So yeah, we are about finished on traumas, believers. Okay, so I want you to know that, I said that. So disobedience for me is the only reason I've ever been sick. Delaying taking action in my life or knowing something I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm just like, not really feeling that right now. But that's my relationship with Jesus Christ. You all have your own relationship with him, and I hope that you learn to develop it to be the best person that you can be, as unique and loved as you are, and just show up in the world doing those things. So I want to remind you that I built this place for Christians to become believers, slayers, endurers, and more than conquerors, okay? Never leaving or putting behind who you are, because if you've missed the first part of this, I told you I went from gangbanging to a seat at the table, and baby, you'll hear it come out in a sentence. And I just can't help it. It's okay. Like, I'm refined but unrefined, and it's okay. I'm just who I am, and I have a heart of flesh, and I forgive so much, and I forgive myself for being imperfect, and I, continue to move on because I wish I can tell you that there will be no suffering. Like the medicine takes the pain away. All I can tell you is that you making your best next decision and confidence will take your pain away. So we have to stop trying to mask our pain and do the things that we need to do to alleviate our pain, because there will be suffering, you guys. There will be. We all must suffer at some point, but he won't put anything more on us than we can bear. And I can't promise you that there will be no suffering, but I can promise you that I will be there to worship with you. I can promise you that I will be there to mitigate pain with knowledge so that you can have understanding of what you're going through and make better decisions for your future. I know I would rather suffer for the righteousness of God than for the righteousness of this world, because I know that you want an expected end as I want an expected end. As I was going through those years of employment discrimination, no one was able to really fill that void for me. God would put a vision in my head, and he would show me that I'm standing on a platform and the auditorium is filled to capacity. I'm a nurse. What the hell? And that was the vision. And I had to trust that vision. And I pursued that vision. And I'm still pursuing that vision. So I want you to know that health and wealth and the ability to create income is about your knowledge and your application, your discipline and your fortitude, your forgiveness and your compassion, your accountability and your steadfastness. I want to introduce you also to my products. This is just a lecture tonight. I'm not asking you guys to buy anything, but just to listen for me and leave me some comments. Make sure that you like and share this. Tell people who may be experiencing workplace discrimination or depression because of their jobs or oppression because of some issue to contact me, okay? Because I'm here for you. So to make the right power moves to better yourself, we have relevant products and services. When attempting to cope with workplace discrimination, nothing else matters. You're consumed by the drama. To support employees like yourself to be better prepared, I do offer community, consultancy, courses, and literature. These are for all of your workplace health care and life care needs. Okay? Even if you don't get what it is that you need from your doctor, you can come to me and I can write you a health equity plan and put them on notice that you're not here for this bullshit. BS. I don't know, sorry. It just slipped out. But you're not here for that. And to put yourself first, because if you can't put yourself first, you can't help nobody else. Like we have to learn to love ourselves, or we can never love anyone else. And more importantly, nobody will love us right. I know y'all ready to be loved. I'm ready to be loved. Right? Yeah. So the timeliness of partnerships. I know you're wondering, wow, that's great, but who does she think she is to do such godly, amazing things? I'm going to read just from page 41 real quick. It's not a whole, it's just a paragraph. It's in chapter 4, Confronting Bias. And it says that the California state legislature once considered a collective bargaining law for registered nurses based upon a disheartening view of the healthcare system, according to Assembly Bill number 1201. The institutional force of healthcare facilities and medical group providers has turned against the interests of patients and healthcare consumers as a result of managed care reordering of economic priorities and incentives. As a consequence, licensed direct registered nurses are the only potentially effective means for assuring the provision of safe health care for patients, right? That means that even if you're going, they're looking at what they're getting out of it. They're not looking at, how to help you, because there's no money in health. Not for them. So in closing, I said that I wanted to read a quick poem Yeah. So before you hire an attorney to fight your battles, before you fill a prescription to tolerate injustice, and before you file an administrative complaint of discrimination, I definitely want you to take our quiz. I will be leaving the link to the quiz at, I don't know, in the chat or something like that. But this is a poem that I wrote. Sorry, I'm too excited to read it verbatim, so I'm going to read it from the back of my first book. It says, great pressure exposes the seed to great promise. Like an acorn, my whole life seen as small, difficult, pretentious. Like an acorn, I know my potential. Strong and hard before you, meek and gentle before the Lord, because he is the truth. Tried by fire, race endured, seed planted, promises manifested, so that you can eat from good fruit for many generations. Be brave, be free. It's your only true right. Repent, accept Christ. He comes into the fire to save. So you guys, this was my first inaugural Better lecture. Please leave me comments. I am shaking in my pants. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. Instagram and YouTube. If you have questions, please let me know. And if not, tell somebody about me. I'll be back next week, okay? Wednesday at 7. Bye.